everyone, and welcome back to my channel, All Things Empowerment. Today I am going to do a story time while eating my seafood, you guys. So I got crab legs, I got corn, potatoes, and sausages, you guys. And I got honey mustard for my sauce. And we're going to get started about the story time. Today's story time is about a girl named Winter. A girl named Winter, you guys. Hold on. And Winter had one daughter. And Winter was 20 years old. So, Winter was a loving mother. She worked really hard. And she was basically a CNA. Her career was, you know, working with people. She enjoyed working. She was friendly and loving. And she was the youngest child out of 5 children. Her parents were married over 20 years. And they just wanted the best for Winter. Well, now that Winter was 20, she wanted her own place because, like, why not? She already got a child, she has a job, and she felt like she could take on, you know, the responsibility of having her own stuff. So by her being the youngest child, she was the only one at home, basically, with her parents. So she just wanted a new setting. Her parents was always taking trips and on the go. But most importantly, they are older now. Like, why not travel? So, Winter told her parents. Her parents started helping her look for a place. Now, her daddy was, like, kind of skeptical, like, because that was his baby girl. So, he really didn't want her to go. At all. Not at all, but she was ready. She was old enough and she had her own child and she was just ready for her own space. And plus her parents want Holly home because they traveled, so why not? So Winter and her mother went and started searching for her an actual place. You know, the parents wanted to be involved because they wanted to make sure she was in a safe atmosphere, a safe place. And they live in Texas. So they helped her find a place. They helped her get her stuff together. They helped her get her stuff situated inside of the new apartment or whatever. Inside of the new apartment or whatever. And then Winter was good. So, Winter stayed working at the same facility. And now she was taking her daughter to daycare. So, she wouldn't be a burden on her parents and everything. So, eventually Winter started working double shifts. Because, again, being on your own was her first time. And it can get pricey. You got a lot of bills, rent, you got lights, water, etc. So she was having to pull more hours. So Winter had finally started asking her mother to, you know, babysit for her, take care of her daughter. The mother agreed. So Winter started working more hours. Now, and keep in mind that I haven't mentioned Winter's child father because he was not in the picture. And that was okay with Winter. She was able to and capable of taking care of her daughter on her own, especially with her parents' help. So, in Winter, one day, went to work as usual. And she was supposed to be pulling a double. Winter wind up pulling that double and getting off pretty late. So her mother eventually kept her daughter, Winter daughter, overnight. So this particular day, Winter felt like she had free time on her hands. Since her mother was keeping her daughter overnight, she wouldn't have to go pick up her daughter. So she was wanting to hang out with friends she haven't saw or hung out with in a while. I mean, why not? So Winter called one of her friends. They decided to meet downtown, and basically they did. They went out, had a couple of drinks, had a good time. Finally, Winter meets this person named Brad. Brad saw Winter. Brad saw Winter in the club, and for a couple of hours, he was like watching her. Now, Brad was basically a working person. He worked, and he particularly worked in the actual bar. So he was a bartender at the bar where Winter was hanging out. So eventually he started giving Winter drinks, and she was like, I'm not paying for all of this. Like, why do you keep giving me drinks? And he was like, that's okay, I got you. So her and her friends just was like, okay. And they was drinking. So before she left, Brent asked Winter for her number. They exchanged numbers, and eventually the club was over, and Winter went her way and Brent went him. Now, the next day, Winter got a phone call, an unknown number. She wasn't sure who it was, because mind you, that night she took Brent's number down, you know, on a little piece of paper that was at the bar. So she wasn't sure what his number was by heart. Oh, I poured a little too much of the honey mustard. She wasn't sure of his number by heart. But she answered the phone, and it was Brent. And he was like, hey, Winter, this is Brent. How are you? And she goes, fine. He was like, I was calling to check on you, see if you made it home last night safely. And she said, yeah, I made it home last night. It was a great time. How about you? And he said, yep, it was a great time, but I'm really calling you because I want to take you out. Now, Brent, he had kind of a little of a background. He had been in jail before and everything, but they're getting to know each other, so Winter doesn't know this. So eventually, her and Brent start hanging out more and more and more as time went by. Eventually, he was able to get to meet her parents and was able to get to meet her daughter. And, you know, everything was good. They would go out on dates. Her parents would watch the kids. And then finally, all the Cinderella story was about to be over. Brent had lost his job as a bartender. So at this time, Brent doesn't have a job, not able to keep up his bills, and about to lose his place. So he asks Winter, was it okay if he was to stay with her? And Winter thought long and hard of it, but hey, they've been dating for a few months now. So Winter was like, it's fine till you get back on your feet. So now Brent is moving in. He finally moves in. She started working doubles, and he's just slouching around the house, not trying to find a job, basically not trying to do anything, thinking he's gonna live off her, I guess, for free. And Winter parents taught her better than that. So you ain't about to be living off her. And you're a man. Oh, no, sir. So she kept trying to talk him into getting a job and everything. It started starting out as always an argument, because at this point, I'm assuming he was getting tired of Winter keep asking him when he was going to get another job, and you know, like, get himself together. So one day they were in the house. Brent was watching a basketball game, and Winter was in the kitchen fixing something to eat. Her daughter was gone to her parents' house as usual, and basically she really didn't want to be bothered with Brent that day at all, because she was still trying to figure out why he still haven't found a job. And they've been going back and forth about stuff for days. It just wasn't going right. So Winter had finally talked to her friend on the phone, and she was telling her friend how I was tired of mentioning work, and he's still not even trying to do anything, and how she was just gonna put him out. And the friend was like, girl, go in and do what you gotta do, cause he won't be staying in my home. Like, who? So Winter went home. First she went to pick up her daughter from her parents, and for some reason her mother was wanting her daughter to stay, like, you know, like, stay over there for the night. But Winter was like, no, Mom, you keep her alive. I'm just going to take her home with me, and I'll bring her back in the morning, you know, because I got to work. Her mother was like, okay, I love you. Be safe. You know how mothers do. Whatever. Winter got her daughter in the car, and they went home. Now, Brent is at the house, pissy, drunk, without a job, and just angry. Like, he was in the place, in the mood that Winter didn't like being around. So, of course, went to feed her daughter. Then finally get her daughter to bed. And then when she started getting tired and everything, ready to go to bed, get in the shower, get out the shower, tell Brent good night, because that's what she always did, and went to her room. Before Winter went to sleep, sometimes she usually reads. Winter cut on the nightstand light to read. Brent comes in the room all pissy, drunk, stinking, smell like nothing but alcohol, and say, if you gonna get rid of me, go ahead, because we argue all the time, and I just feel like eventually you're gonna try to put me out. And she goes, what are you talking about? Like, and why out of the blue you coming in here talking about that? Like, what are you talking about? And he goes, you know what I'm talking about, bitch. And she like, whoa, wait a minute. At this point in time, Winter was shocked, because Brent never, you know, cussed at her or anything like that. He never used those type of words with her. So she was like, Brent, you're drunk. Like, calm down. Go sleep it off in the living room. And he was like, I'm not sleeping it off nowhere. I'm not going in the living room. This is my house too. I'm going to sleep in here. She was like, okay, well, don't argue. Don't start no argument with me. I don't feel like arguing at all. I don't feel like arguing with you. And he goes, who you talking to like that, bitch? And she's you're not gonna call me that again. You're not. He said, I can call you what I want. You my lady. You my woman. She was like, Brent, if you want to act like this, you can get out. You can get out of my house. And then he goes, your house? This is my house, bitch. This is my house. You can call the police if you want. And they not going to tell me to go no goddamn well. If anything, you leave. She was like, you can't even pay the bills. So Winter like, I'm not gonna keep arguing with him. Like, let me get up, get my stuff on, and go to my parents' house for the night, because I'm not finna keep arguing with him. Like, that's not gonna happen. So he just following behind her while she's putting on her stuff, just arguing back and forth. And she's trying to quiet him down because her daughter is in the other room asleep. So eventually he started getting louder and louder, to the point where she was trying to hurry up, get out of there. She hurry up, got her stuff on. At this point, she's going to her daughter's room, like to get her daughter up and together to go. Brent comes right behind her in the daughter room yelling. And she was like, oh no, I gotta go, because you doing too much, you yelling in front of my daughter. At this point in time, her daughter had woke up out of her sleep screaming and crying. Just screaming and crying. So now Winter like mad. She really pissed. Brent jumps in her face while she's holding her daughter. You not going nowhere, bitch. You not going nowhere. And she's like, move out of my way, Brent, move out of my way. He shoves her. She pushes him back. And then he shoves her really, really hard to where her daughter flies out of her arms, y'all. And she's like, Brent, look what you did. Her daughter had wound up hitting her head on the side of the door. Y'all know how the door is when it's open in the corner. It's the door and then the handles. Her daughter hit her head on that side, y'all. So Winter like devastated now. She's screaming and crying. Her daughter's screaming and crying. She's seeing blood coming from her daughter's head. And she rushes to her daughter to get her daughter off the floor. And then rushes out the room. And Brent's still going at it, y'all. At this point, he's fire hot. Because he see that she's like literally trying to get her phone. So Brent, knowing that he has a record, y'all, get the lamp or whatever. Get the lamp and picks it up. And remind you, Winter has her daughter in one arm and trying to pick up her phone in the other. He gets the lamp, y'all, and hit Winter over the head with the lamp. Daughter falls out her arms again. Winter done fell on the floor, hitting her head on the nightstand, and the baby came tumbling right after, hitting her head on the nightstand. At this point, the baby done had too many blows, y'all. Like twice. It's the second time. So it knocks Winter out. Like literally knocks Winter out. Brent, at this point, still angry. He knows Winter is down and her baby. The baby ain't responding even, and Winter not even. Brent panics. Go into the nightstand. Pulls out his gun. And shoots Winter 5 times. Shoot her. Pow, pow, pow. Brent then takes her leg and drags it down the steps in her apartment. Drags her body down the steps. Mind y'all, the baby is still up there. Drags her legs down the steps. After he drags the leg, her down the steps, he take her to the garage, and he goes back upstairs, y'all, to get the baby. Literally, goes back up the steps to get the baby. Went up the steps, got her daughter, burned her daughter down. At this point, her daughter had blood on her head and everything. Then he ties Winter up, put the baby next to her, go and get gasoline from the gas station, come back to the house, and literally put gasoline all in the house, light a match, and set the house on fire. Literally, y'all. Set your house on fire. By the grace of God, a neighbor pulls up, because the neighbor had like late night work. The neighbor pulls up in their driveway, like in next door, pulls up in the driveway and notice that it's smoking, and then look over to the left and see that the back of Winter's apartment is on fire. Now, the neighbor calls 911. She explained to the police that her next door neighbor apartment is on fire, and she don't know if anybody home, because it's one car like in the parking lot, but the other car is not there. So ambulance and stuff comes, EMT, everybody comes. The fire department finally puts out the fire. Now it was bad, like the fire was really bad. But then that's when they start searching to see if they can find bodies or anything, or was it just a house fire? They start searching. Eventually, they find 2 bodies in the garage. No. They find 2 bodies in the garage, a child and a woman. The EMTs and stuff get the child and the woman and rush them to the hospital. Well, at the hospital, the child was pronounced dead. Winter, who had, remember, hit her head on the dresser and had been shot and tied up by Brent, she survived, but she was in ICU. So she couldn't explain what happened, nothing. Parents still not knowing. So eventually, 2 days later, Winter now can answer questions and talk. The first thing she asked the nurse was, "Where's my baby? Where's my daughter?" The nurse tell her to calm down and that she had to get rest. And at this point, Winter is panicking. She's scared and she's panicking. Like, where my baby? Now, they was advised by the police to not tell her and let one of, like, the police officers that's going to come and talk to her, like, tell her that and stuff. At this point, Brent is nowhere to be found, y'all. Like, all this going on, he nowhere to be found. Parents haven't been contacted. So they not really knowing Winter's her name or anything. So basically, the police and stuff come. The detectives that was on her case came. Then she still wanted to know where her baby at. Screaming, yelling, saying they won't tell her. Well, the woman detective finally tell her that her daughter did not survive. Winter had a fit. She broke down. What mother wouldn't? She was devastated. So now she's devastated and everything. She's yelling, "Did y'all get him? Did y'all arrest him? Did y'all get him?" And they like, "We don't know, get who?" Like, you know, we understand your house was set on fire. It wasn't an accident. It was intentional. Gas was all through your house, but we don't know who to get. Now, can you explain that night what happened? Do you remember anything? Y'all, with head injuries, it's hard to remember stuff. But Winter remembered every detail. She explained to the detectives who he was, gave him his first and last name. She was one that Mother Tucker arrested. Like, she was wanting him arrested. Winter was now able to contact her mother and stuff, even though they was getting a little scared because they haven't heard from her in days. And she usually talked to them every single day, y'all. Every day. And she just, like, they wasn't hearing from her. So she was now able to call her parents, explain to her parents what happened. Girl, when I say her mother was livid and devastated, they was livid and devastated. Now, Winter never really brought too many people around her child. So, for this to be her first time even bringing a man around her child, let alone live in her home, like, it was devastating, y'all. So her parents was so upset and angry. They wanted him arrested too. They wanted to find this man. Well, Winter finally got out. Still no sign of Brent. Like, no trace of him, y'all. Like, she haven't heard from him. They haven't arrested him. It was all over the news. People were shocked. By this time, Winter had to move back in with her parents, let alone scared every night, waking up out of her sleep, crying for her daughter. It was miserable for Winter. And they haven't found him? Who? So Winter, eventually, they was looking for this person. I mean, and they couldn't find Brent nowhere, y'all. At all. Yo, when I say they brought Winter down to the station 6 months later, after all of this happened, 6 months later now, they brought her down to the station. And because they had gotten fingerprints, what left the fingerprints from her house, her apartment, they had gotten fingerprints. The fingerprints, they said, didn't match up to a person by the name of Brent. Y'all, guess what? He had done gave her the whole time a whole fake damn name. Like, that wasn't even his name. Like, the fingerprints matched back to somebody named Dave. Like, Dave. His name was Dave. He lied. He had been living in her house the whole time, all that long, and she was thinking his name was Brent. Y'all, when I say it's best to meet people like family and stuff before you even let them move in, get to know them, sorry, y'all. When I say it's best, it is, because he had her a whole fake life. But guess what? They had already been arrested a month before they figured out who he really was. For basically assaulting his wife. Y'all, he had a whole wife. So obviously the wife had to put him out. And he tried to act like he ain't had nowhere to go, and he lost his job, and blah, 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 to Winter just to live with her. And I guess he was fed up, because if Winter would have left him or put him out, it would have been the second woman who did him like that. I guess he was afraid to be on his own. But the moral of this story is, men, women, etc. Watch who you bring around your family, your children, but most importantly, make sure you learn who they are before like dating them and like getting so close to them, and just make sure you figure out who they are before, because it could be a whole damn setup. Now, Winter would never ever be able to forgive herself, especially with her not even knowing who the hell Dave really was. Like, didn't even know his name was Dave. And she will never ever forgive herself because she lost her child. All because of some raged man that wasn't even who he said he was in the first place. So you guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I hope you enjoyed this story time. And I hope you have a lovely day. Remember, this is All Things Empowerment. And I'm your host, Shaneria. Peace.